And we are recording this video, so if you don't want if you don't want your video on, that is fine. You are welcome to turn it off. We have an incredible presentation for you guys, as you all know, because you are joining live with the Ford Foundation Scholarship. And she has a presentation that she is going to give, and then we are going to save questions for the end. If you don't feel comfortable asking questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we can ask them on your behalf. Otherwise, I am going to turn it over to Carolyn, and she's going to share some great information. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready and take some good notes and prepare some questions for her at the end.
Great. Thanks for asking me to present to you today. I'm with the Ford Family Foundation, and if you're all seniors in high school or hoping to graduate this year, then I will talk about the Ford Scholars Program. So like I said, I'll share my screen and have just about a 12-minute video, and we'll answer any of your questions after that. So let me see if I can figure this out. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, let's see if this works. So the Ford Family Foundation, the scholarship office is actually really close by. We're in Eugene. I'm working from my home in Springfield and have done so for the last 10 months. But the Ford Family Foundation is an amazing foundation that helps communities, especially in rural areas. And so the biggest part of what Ford Foundation does is education. And so let me just share a little bit about that. And actually, let me just see a raise of hands if any of you have heard about the Ford Family Foundation before. Okay. Some have, some haven't, so this is great. So a little bit about the scholarship that I'm going to share is that there are about 130 scholarship awards and each year for seniors or recent high school graduates. The award is renewable financial support of up to $40,000 a year. We provide academic guidance, leadership development, personal and professional support, and access to Ford Family Alumni Network. So it's so much more than just the money. But we'll talk about that in a little bit more. Let me just do this presentation, this video, and you can hear a little bit more about it.
The Ford Scholars Program is an undergraduate scholarship program for students in Oregon and Siskiyou County, California, who have financial need and who are seeking to complete a 4-year degree. Scholars receive funding, 90% of unmet need, for up to 4 years. The program helps fund the cost of college, but it's so much more than that.
I would say that the Ford Family Foundation changed my life. It would have not been possible for me to come to college at all, let alone come out debt-free. It's a lot more than just the scholarship itself.
It's a broad program supporting well-rounded students engaging in academics and their communities. Once awarded, students are welcomed into the Ford Scholar Network, a family. They support and celebrate one another during their time as scholars and beyond. The relationships built last a lifetime.
There's so much energy going around there. There's so much positivity going in it. We're all here with similar dreams, similar passions, and it feels like a family.
During their time as scholars, they receive support and counseling services from the Foundation Scholarship staff to help them navigate their college career.
I think one of the biggest things is that the Ford Family Foundation. It really just helps you know that you're on the right path and that they believe in you no matter what you do. So it's nice to know that they were always there.
Scholars attend annual leadership conferences where they develop personal and professional skills and strengthen bonds with one another.
They invite you to these leadership conferences. They pamper you when you're here. Then they invest in us with the leadership training. It's application that you can use through real life stuff.
It's always been like a positive peak of my summer. And it's kind of a rejuvenation period for me.
Through a mentor program and the Alumni Association, scholars connect during college and after. Being a Ford Scholar is about being dedicated to academics. They have what it takes to achieve their degree.
It represents a lot of perseverance, a lot of hard work. I'm also an immigrant. I would never think that I would be walking or even getting 3 degrees. If it hadn't been for Ford, I just wouldn't be here. I just appreciate everything that Ford has done for me.
Being a Ford Scholar is about being engaged. They actively participate and communicate as a member of the Ford Scholars Network.
By being a Ford Scholar, it just opens up everything to you in terms of networking, financially, friends, people to help you. And anytime I didn't know really what I was doing, but they're just like, oh, you're a Ford student. Here, this person, talk to this person, this person. They network everywhere.
Being a Ford Scholar is about working hard. They take initiative to build skills and focus on their success.
In my hometown, a lot of them just mainly go to community college. So for me to have that opportunity to get out of my town and explore other opportunities in a bigger city and then come back and impact my community, it's been something that my mom was not expecting.
And being a Ford Scholar is about belonging to a family, to a community.
Life is about not just being the best, but being your best. The Ford family believes in people who want to help others. They've given me hope and a future and have invested in me in a way that has completely changed me as a person.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the eligibility requirements. This is a needs-based scholarship, and you need to be a resident of Oregon, and we also serve students in Siskiyou County, California, which is Northern California. You need to have an expected family contribution, or an EFC, on your financial aid application and your student aid report of $6,000 or less. If selected for this scholarship, you must attend a college or university in Oregon. As you saw, we happened to be at University of Oregon on graduation day. It just worked out that way, but you can attend any Oregon university or college in the state. It would need to be full-time that you would also need to be attending. You also will need, while we don't have a minimum GPA requirement, if you have a 3.0 GPA cumulative or below, then you'll just be asked for a special recommendation, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. The exciting piece is that our application is online. We're no longer affiliated directly with OSAC, which many of you may have already started an application for other scholarships, and it still is a really great resource for you. We didn't want to be in the mix with 600 different applications, and so we had the opportunity to create our own platform, and so you would just go directly to our scholarships website. So what can you expect on the application? So like any other application, you'll log in, you'll put in your name, your email, and then directly go to your personal email, because it'll ask you to create a login and account information, so that if you need to jump out of the application for some reason, you can log back in. So make sure you go to your email and start that login process. But as I said, you can jump back into the application, you start working on it, and there's several different steps, but we tried to make this really student friendly, really mobile friendly. And it's pretty easy to answer. Just make sure you just really read the questions and you answer them correctly, because there are some questions that will, if you answer them incorrectly, it'll say, hey, you might be ineligible for this, but please reach out to someone at Ford Family Foundation. It's at appquestions@tfff.org, and we'll take a look at your application. Sometimes it's just really easy by quickly going through answering yes or no when you just answered the wrong yes or no to the wrong question. So we also asked for activities. Like most of the scholarship applications, we're really interested in what you've done over the last 4 years, what you've been involved in. You can share up to 10 activities, and there's space for you to share in 75 words or less what that activity is. We're going to ask for approximate time and length that you've been in that activity. And we know that everybody's life is very different. So you could be, because you're doing school on a hybrid, or maybe you're also doing some part-time work. Are you not able to hear us? Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Sorry, no, you're fine. We hear you fine.
Okay. Just put in the activities that you think that you want to share with us that you think is meaningful. So it could be that you are doing some extra service around your community, around your school, even for your family. If you have family members that you are helping around the house every day, that you're responsible for, let us know what that activity is. Maybe it's just tutoring or taking care of siblings or other family members. Maybe it is working part-time. Maybe it's being part of a club at school. But remember, this is over the past 4 years. So think about those things that have been meaningful that you want to share with us. And like any application, we're going to have some essays. We do have 3. I'm giving you an example of one. Of the 3 essays, 2 of them will give you a choice of 2 different prompts. And I've given you an example here. And these essays are only 150 words each. So in the chat, I gave you a link to a prepare to apply page. That has all of our essay questions on it. I'd highly recommend that you copy paste that, put it in some sort of a Word document, and then you can just really figure out which of those essays for questions 1, 2, and 3 really speak to you and that you think will speak to us. What we're looking for is who you are, what things you're proud of, what things motivate you, what are your interests, how you go about learning new things, setting goals. Just depends on the particular essay question that you're answering. When you do the copy paste, have someone else look at it. You can also do a word count. So when you're happy with your answer, then you can just paste that answer directly into that portion of the application. We're going to need your transcript. It does not need to be an official transcript. It just needs to make sure that it has the name of your school, your full name on it, and coursework and grades. Ultimately, we'd love to have the transcript that has coursework up through the end of the year. But we're not sure how soon those are available. So give us what you can, the most updated one that you can, and then you just upload that. There are some final deadlines. Our final deadline is March 1st at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you still have time to work on things, making sure that that you have all the documents ready. You can proofread things, you can save it, you can go back into your document, your application, but once you submit it, you can't go back in and re-edit it. So a little bit about how we do our review and decision-making process. There are several levels of review that we do for completed eligible applications, and the ones that we find that we want to do a final review, we do an invitation for an interview. The interviews typically are done in person, but we do them online, and they'll be done by Zoom, either Zoom video or Zoom call. We have 100% connection with the folks that we do the invitation to. The interview is only 30 minutes. So you're in a room or virtual room with about 3 people that are on the interview team, and they just want to get to know you. So try to be yourself. I know any interview is a little anxiety ridden, but we've had some interviews that have just been so much fun. And we just really want to get to know you. They will have the entire application and all your documents, but it's really just a time for them to get to know who you are. Again, the final deadline, our website, and here's the numbers that you can contact us at. There's also an Instagram that has a lot of really great information on it, that we have our former scholars and we have our current scholars add information. We do application tips to folks as well. So, we would love to see you start the application. Okay, let me go ahead and... All right. I hope that wasn't too long. Let me know if you have any questions. I do want to address the special recommendation first, because I know I was supposed to do that in the presentation. Again, we do not have a minimum GPA requirement for you to apply. If you have a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or below, there will be a portion in your application that will identify that and say you need a special recommendation. In that, you would invite your recommender and you'd send them a little note saying, hey, I'm applying for the Ford Family Foundation Scholarship. I would love for you to be a recommender. Then you send that via the application. Your recommender will receive that. They will be asked to create an account, and then there's a quick form for them to fill out. It's just how they know you, things that they can say about how you would do as in college and your plan of success. They will offer some really good things about why we should select you. It's a real quick form. But it's really important that you do the outreach and that you do the follow-up with them. Oftentimes they'll lose that information in their email, so give them a heads up and make sure that they submit their recommendation by the deadline as well. We won't accept any recommendations outside of that. So if you feel that you would like just an extra boost in your application, but you have a GPA of 3.0 or above, we will not use any extra recommendations. Okay, questions?
Great, thank you. That was so much good information. I'm sure, like everybody else's head is spinning right now with questions. So I always like to start it off while you guys are thinking of questions. I have just a couple that came to mind as you were speaking. You talked about the EFC on your FAFSA. So this is a plug that if you haven't gotten your FAFSA done, you need to get your FAFSA done. And we can help you with that, okay? So the EFC, that can be found in 2 places. The SAR report on your FAFSA, there's also an email that you receive as soon as you submit your FAFSA that has your EFC on there. If you don't know what it is, reach out to either myself or Relina, and we can help you with figuring that out. You will need that information for almost every single scholarship. One of the things I heard was $6,000. Your EFC has to be $6,000 or less. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. So my question is, with the craziness of the world that we live in today, what if your EFC is higher? However, you're in a situation now where maybe your parents have lost their job and they don't have any, they've been out of work since March of last year, or, the circumstances changed. What is your recommendation with that type of a situation?
There is a way for the applicant, if you've already applied to, say, your top 5 schools and you're waiting for an admission decision, you would need to request a special financial aid kind of hardship. And so I have the information that I can send to Jessica on that. I'm not the financial aid guru here, but there is a way that the students can do that, request something that is special, but they'd have to do that for each of the schools they agree to. And then the schools would come back with something saying, yes, we acknowledge that in this case, your expected family income is going to be less than or at $6,000 or less. Then that information would need to come back to us. But what we would need to have that at the time of the application. And the other part of that is if you are ready for interview, we need to have that information as well.
Perfect. So thank you for clarifying with that. So what she is referring to is that if situation changes, right, because our FAFSAs are based off of the year prior, if their situation changes, you can do a special circumstances request where they basically do an investigation and kind of dive a little bit deeper into your FAFSA and what it looks like today. And I'm just going to give a quick example of what that looks like for me personally. So with my son who, graduated, Relina, was it like 3 years ago now, I think? He was a Springfield student, and I had worked a job where I was making 6 figures, and I lost that job before his senior year. And so I was out of work his senior year. So what that did was, you took that income away. And so it changed our circumstances, which meant our FAFSA didn't reflect our current situation. Okay. So hopefully you guys, that makes sense. And so what I'm hearing is that the Ford Foundation understands that. And so you'll just have to work with the university if that situation changed for you, and then present that to them. Okay. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand that, because that is something that, especially this year or last year, that could be a situation that you're in. So thank you so much. I do have another question, and then I'll turn it over. Hopefully you guys have questions after this. I may have missed this. I apologize. My husband was trying to talk to me and I was trying to tell him I can't talk to him. So you may have covered this, but test scores. Does the scholarship application require any reporting of ACTs, SATs? None. Perfect. So that is something good to know. A lot of schools have gone test optional with this scholarship. We just confirmed no test scores. So perfect. All right, I'm gonna let students ask questions now. This is a perfect time for you guys to, there's no wrong questions, bad questions, any of that. This is the perfect time to get those questions that I know you're all gonna email me later and ask now.
Yeah, I was wondering if you get an email for an interview, is there anything on the website or anything you'd recommend to how to prepare for that?
That's a really great question. So we would actually have you maybe work with Jessica or one of the other counselors. And what we're looking for is you just being honest and genuine. I am really not sure what the questions they ask because every year it changes. And I think that just keeps everything good and equitable. But it's really just, if you're coming into a room, well, one, make sure you have a copy of the application that you submitted. So there's an opportunity for you to create a PDF and then print and save that. So make sure you remember what you wrote on your application, because the interviewers will be looking at that and may ask you some specific questions, maybe about some activities for you to go in more depth. They may ask you if you have several college choices or you've been admitted to several colleges, and if you really get a sense of what that kind of commitment will be as a college student, not only just time-wise, but even just the financial commitment. They just want to really know what you know. It's not a ding if you don't know. They really just want to get to know who you are. The other part of it is an interview. So if you have the opportunity to do a Zoom on camera, do dress as if you're there for a job interview. And this is a pretty big interview because it's a lot of money on the line. It could be up to $40,000 a year. And what that means is if a person is selected and gone through the interview process and then actually ultimately selected for the Ford Family Scholarship, what they'll do is we'll look at what scholarships or grants or what kind of things you already have financially in place for the school that you're going to attend. And then any extra Ford Scholarship will kick in 90% of whatever is left. But you can talk to Jessica a little bit more about that. She has a little more financial aid finesse.
Thank you.
Such a great question. And it's a perfect plug for an upcoming college and career readiness workshop that we have in February. It's interview training. So a lot of scholarships are going to actually have interviews as part of the process. And so we are actually bringing in a former recruiting partner from the firm I used to work with, who as a recruiting manager, he's going to come in and talk to you about interviewing. And we can set up mock interviews to practice with, ourselves or other people within the community, just to give you kind of that experience. So that is definitely something that you guys will want to plug into, and that is coming up in February. I don't know the date off the top of my head without checking, but there will be an email coming out. There'll be stuff on Instagram, and we'll send texts out and all that kind of stuff. So great question.
Yeah. I think the biggest tip that I can provide to you is please do apply. There's opportunities not only through our foundation, but there's so many other opportunities financially that we realize that it does take time to apply for scholarships. But gosh, no scholarship, big or small, it's help towards paying for books. It's help for paying for tuition. There's other things that you can think about, but do take the time to apply for those different and various scholarships. Was this a helpful presentation to you, I hope? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay.
Also just request your transcripts. Again, they don't have to be official. And make sure your FAFSA is done so that you have that information. So those two documents are really important. And Carrie, I think you had a question.
Yes, I did.
So, if it was a situation where you were planning on going to community college for the first 2 years and then a university after that, would this be something that we could sign up for now or like try and apply for now? And then, okay.
That's a really great question. Yes, it is. It is opportunity for you to go ahead and apply. One of the things that you might want to consider, and it's always good to have a plan A, plan B, plan C. If you feel that the community college is the route you want to go, but you really ultimately would like to be at one of the larger universities, keep that in mind as well, because we've had students who have applied and they have gotten into these wonderful community colleges, but because they have received our scholarship, they now have the extra funds to be able to afford to go to their 4-year choice. And the ultimate is that you must want to attain a 4-year degree. So that's what you must have in the back of your mind, and first and foremost, because this is what our founders wanted, is that they wanted to educate students and they wanted them to get a bachelor's degree. So was that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
So what I'm hearing with that is, if you're planning on going to a community college because it makes sense to save money, but if you have the opportunity to go to a 4-year university with the Ford Scholarship, then you don't have to make that decision on community college today, but that could make all the difference. And I know there are students within our school district that really wanted to be able to go to OSU, but there was no financial means for them to do that without the Ford Scholarship. And now they are thriving at that university. And then what they were able to do is use LCC or Lynn Benton or any of those community colleges as a backup plan. So I would say, always have that backup plan, but also shoot for the moon right now. I mean, if you can get your education paid for and have the support and mentorship of this scholarship, that would be such an incredible blessing to your life that I would think that you would strive for that. So with that said, I'm going to plug that U of O application deadline is this Friday. If you are thinking about going there, you want to definitely get that application in, and OSU is coming up right behind that. So if you're thinking about these universities and haven't gotten your applications in, definitely get those in. Any other questions before we wrap up? We've had some really good questions, by the way.
I just was gonna clarify, the decision dates are in May, right?
The final decision dates, if you've already gone through the interview process, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And we have that question asked, why is it in the middle part of May, when a lot of the college decisions or the seat deposits, or for you to say, yep, I'm coming to your college, here's some money for me to save my place, is usually May 1st. I would say that all of the colleges and universities in Oregon knows us, Ford Family Foundation. You contact their admission office and you just say, hey, I've been interviewed and I'm waiting for their decision. Can you extend my deposit date? And 99.9% of the time they'll say absolutely. So just know that, because our process is really holistic, but it goes through so many different reviews, we want to make sure that we are doing this right. And I will be quite transparent. It's a really competitive scholarship, because you're looking at potentially up to $160,000 worth of funding for your 4 years, potentially up to that amount. So of course, we want to make sure that it's given to the right folks, but we also want you not to say, we don't want you to say, you know, I don't think I have the time to do it. You just never know.
This has been a great, great presentation. I really appreciate your time that you came and worked with all of us, answered so many questions. And so Jessica and I are available to any one of you at any time. Just email us, let us know what you need help with, and we will be Johnny on it. We will connect with you right away. And especially in February, it would be highly important to attend the interview process. It's going to take a lot of the jitters away. It's going to make you feel confident about when you enter that conference room or whatever it's going to look like, to feel at ease. And so that's what we want for you, so that you feel at ease. So again, thank you, Carolyn, for coming and sharing with us. It was great.
Oh, good.
Yes, I will echo that. We always love getting information directly from the source. Before you guys all hop off, we do have a raffle. So you probably didn't even know that because I didn't mention it. Yeah, Camden's face just lit up. So we do this cool raffle. I think Noah's dancing over there. We do this cool raffle where we just give away a $5 gift card for attending our college and career readiness workshop. So everybody that joined, their name was put in. I'm going to do it on my phone, so we'll see how this works. I'm going to spin it and then show you. Oh yeah, okay, drum roll please. Here we go. I don't even know. Can you see that? You guys are gonna have to tell me who wins. Somebody tell me when it. Is there a winner there? Joseph, are you still on the phone or on the phone? Are you still in the meeting?
Yeah.
Yay, you won. So we will just have to email you. I'm gonna have to start mailing all these gift cards, Relina, because I have a stack of them. But we will email you to give you some options. I think I still have Dutch Bros and Crumble Cookie left, maybe Menchie's. So congratulations. Hey, thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate it. I know this is your day off. Hopefully you're working on scholarships on your day off. If you need any support, any help, we are here. Relina is at Springfield. I'm at Thurston. We're here to support you any way we can. And again, thank you so much for coming and speaking to our students. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Good luck, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.